What's going on, everybody? For those who don't know, I go by BOSG, and this is another Sixers video. If you guys are new to this channel and love talking Philly sports every single day, go down below and hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and make sure you turn on the notification bell so you guys are instantly notified whenever I upload a new video. Now, we're here to talk about something very special today related to the Philadelphia 76ers, as you heard in the intro. And today we're going to talk about and question ourselves how much Mattise Thybulle will affect the Sixers in Toronto, because if you guys do not already know, Mattise Thybulle cannot play in Toronto due to his quote-unquote vaccination status, and we will talk about how much Mattise Thybulle will affect the Sixers up in Toronto, and we'll hopefully see the Sixers take at least one of the next two games up in Toronto, and hopefully see the Sixers finish this series up in 5. But we're going to just get into this right now. And before I get into this, I'm just going to go through games 1 and 2 for the final scores. Game 1 for the final score was a blowout, 131-111. And then game 2 last night was a final score of 112-97. So both the first two games of this series were both blowouts by the Philadelphia 76ers. And then in terms of stat lines for Mattise Thybulle in those two games combined, Mattise Thybulle has a combined stat line in those two games of 1 steal and 3 blocks for Mattise Thybulle. So that is his stat line defensively in the last two games. We know Mattise is not known for his shooting, even though he will give you a couple shots every now and then. But I think Mattise Thybulle had somewhere close to 8 points, if I'm not mistaken, combined in games 1 and 2. But we're going to talk about how much Mattise Thybulle can affect the Sixers on the road, because, like I said before, Mattise Thybulle cannot play the games up in Canada due to his vaccination status. So, in my opinion, based on what you guys heard right there, in terms of his offense, I don't really think it's going to be that much affected, because we already have guys that can already score. You know, we already have Tyrese Maxey, we have Joel Embiid, we have Tobias Harris who's been stepping up, we have Danny Green who can give you shots every now and then. Even some of the bench players, you know, Shake Milton can get it going, George Niang can get it going off the bench. But Mattise Thybulle, I really don't think he's going to affect us offensively when it comes to that part. Now, defensively is a different story, because Mattise Thybulle is known to be a defensive type of player, because as you guys already heard, he had 1 steal and 3 blocks in games 1 and 2 combined with the Philadelphia 76ers in this series against the Toronto Raptors. And in my personal opinion, I think that the Sixers, they're going to kind of get hurt by Mattise Thybulle's absence on the road for games 3, 4, and if we need it, game 6, which I hope we don't need game 6, but I think Mattise Thybulle, in my opinion, will affect the Sixers in terms of the defensive scheme that he can bring to the court, and the fact that he is a defensive player can really help out the Sixers. But in terms of the road games, it can affect the Sixers defensively, but really not offensively. But with Mattise Thybulle out, it's gonna force players like Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey to start having much better defensive stats than what they've had in the last few games. And without Mattise Thybulle, the defense will hopefully still be okay with Maxey and with players such as Maxey and Embiid taking over that role in terms of games on the road in Canada for games 3 and 4, and maybe 6 if we need it, which I hope we don't need game 6, because off topic right here, but that is the same night as the NFL draft. So I hope this series goes no more than 5 games, and let's just hope for the best that the Sixers can at least grab one of these next 2 games on the road in Toronto, and then can hopefully finish this up in game 5 at home at the Wells Fargo Center, and the Sixers hopefully find a way to finish this up in 5 games, finishing up at the Wells Fargo and moving on to the second round, where they could possibly play the higher seed, which Could be Boston, could be Miami, but anyway, I think the Sixers have a chance to take this out in 5 games. But Mattise Thybulle, overall, in my personal opinion, he will not so much affect the Sixers on offense, but his defense will be a big missing piece that the Sixers could use if Mattise Thybulle was fully vaccinated. But it turns out that he's not, so it's going to, again, force Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, guys like that, to take a much bigger workload defensively. But offensively, we shouldn't really be that worried because Mattise Thybulle really doesn't give us that many points, whether if he's in the starting line for the bench, which he's been on the bench lately. But I think the Sixers will not really be that impacted offensively, but defensively they will be, because they're going to be missing Thybulle's defense. But yet again, like I said before, it's going to force Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, guys like that, to take a much bigger workload in the Sixers starting 5 and off the bench. I really can't name anybody who will play defense off the bench. Maybe Paul Reed could play some defense off the bench, but that's pretty much it for me. I just kind of wanted to talk about this and just share with you guys my thoughts on how much Mattise Thybulle's defense will be missed in Toronto. The fact that he cannot play the games up in Canada, and for the fact that the Sixers are going to probably miss Mattise Thybulle's defense, and the fact that we're going to have a much bigger workload for Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey in terms of their defensive part in order to have a chance to win this series in 5 games, which I'm hoping that the Sixers can accomplish, and I'm hoping the Sixers can just find a way to pull out a dub in one of these next 2 games in Toronto and then finish this series up in Game 5. But without Mattise Thybulle's defense is going to be hard, but I trust the Philadelphia 76ers to get it done the way they played the first 2 games, and they can play the same way that they played the first 2 games, and they can bring this to Game 3, 4, and 5. We have a chance to end this in 5 games, and if we can make this a bonus, we can maybe sweep the Raptors, but I doubt we're going to sweep the Raptors. I just have a feeling they're going to take one of the games up in Canada, but we're going to finish them off in Game 5 and then go on to the second round. You guys give me your thoughts down below in the comments section. How do you guys feel about Mattise Thybulle and his absence going into the games up in Canada? How much do you think it will affect the Sixers offensively? How much do you think it will affect the Sixers defensively? And just give me your overall thoughts on how you feel about this Sixers series so far against the Toronto Raptors. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I will once again be live for tomorrow's game for Sixers vs. Raptors Game 3 tomorrow, which will take place up in Canada for the Sixers game. So hopefully the Sixers find a way to grab themselves a W up in Canada, and we go into Game 4. And if we can sweep the Raptors, that'd be a bonus. But I think this series goes 5 games. But be sure to come through, tune into the live play-by-play, and be sure to come through and let's see the Sixers take a Game 3 win over the Toronto Raptors. Anyway, guys, see you guys next time. Peace out. Go Sixers!